Hey, shalom you guys. How you guys doing today? It's a beautiful Sunday morning. The first day of the week. And I just wanted to get on here and talk to you guys a little bit about the topic, does the Torah still apply? Because it's a common thought in today's world, especially in the Christian church, saying that, oh, we don't have to keep Yah's commandments no more. We can eat whatever we want. We can celebrate any pagan holiday we want. We can pretty much do everything we want as long as we keep the 10 commandments. And not even the 10 commandments. We have to keep, let's say, 6 out of the 10, because they don't know his name. So by not using his name, they bring it to naught by not even using it. A lot of Christians worship a graven image, the cross. They have it in their houses, they have it on their necks. And also the Sabbath day. They tend to totally neglect the Sabbath day and say every day is the Sabbath. So this study today is just to go over scriptures specifically about Yah's commands. Let's go to Matthew 5 verse 17. Matthew 5 verse 17. Do not think that I came to, and this is Yahshua speaking. Do not think that I came to destroy the Torah or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to complete. For truly I say to you, till the Shamayim and the earth pass away, one yod or one tittle shall by no means pass from the Torah till all be done. Whoever then breaks one of the least of these commands and teaches men so, shall be called least in the reign of the Shamayim. But whoever does and teaches them, he shall be called great in the reign of the Shamayim. So Yahshua is saying, think not, do not think that I came to do away with the law or the prophets. I did not come to do away with, but to complete. To prove to you that it's able to be done. So, John 14 verse 15. Again, from the mouth of Yahshua. These are words coming straight from the Master. John 14. I'm just going to read the whole chapter. If I could get to it. John 12. John 14. I'm going to read the whole chapter. Let not your heart be troubled. Believe in Yahweh. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many staying places, and if not, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I shall come again and receive you to myself, that where I am you might be too. And where I go you know, and the way you know. Thomas said to him, Master, we do not know where you are going, and how are we able to know the way? Yahshua said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you had known me, you would have known my Father too. From now on, you know him and have seen. Philip said to him, Master, show us the Father, and it is enough for us. Yahshua said to him, Have I been with you so long, and you have not known me, Philip? He who has seen me has seen the Father. And how do you say, 'Show us the Father'? Do you not believe that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me? And the words that I speak to you, I do not speak from myself, but the Father who stays in me does his works? Believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father in me. Otherwise, believe me because of the works themselves. Truly, truly, I say to you, he who believes in me, the works that I do, he shall do also, and greater than these he shall do, because I go to my Father. And whatever you ask in my name, that I shall do, in order that the Father might be esteemed in the bane. If you ask whatever in my name, I shall do it. If you love me, you shall guard my commands. And I shall ask the Father, and he shall give you another helper to stay with you forever, the Ruach of the truth, whom the world is unable to receive, because it does not see him or know him. But you know him, for he stays with you and shall be in you. I shall not leave you orphaned. I am coming to you. Yet a little while, and the world no longer sees me. But you shall see me, because I live, and you shall live. In that day you shall know that I am the Father, and you shall know that I am in the Father, and you in me, and I in you. He who possesses my He who possesses my commands and guards them, it is he who loves me, and he who loves me shall be loved by my Father, and I shall love him and manifest myself to him. Yehuda, not the one from Kerioth, said to him, Master, what has come about that you are about to manifest yourself to us and not to the world? Yeshua answered him, If anyone loves me, he shall guard my word, and my Father shall love him, and we shall come to him and make our stay with him. He who does not love me does not guard my words, and the words which you hear is not mine, but of the Father who sent me. These I have spoken to you while still with you, but the Helper, the Ruach HaKodesh, whom the Father shall send in my name, he shall teach you all, and remind you of all that I have said to you. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. You heard that it was said to you, I am going away, and I am coming to you. If you loved me, you would have rejoiced that I said, I am going to the Father, for my Father is greater than I. And now I have told you before it takes place, that when it does take place, you shall believe. I shall no longer talk much with you, for the ruler of this world is coming, and he possesses not in me. But in order for the word to know that I love the Father, and that as the Father commanded me, so I am doing. Rise up, let us go from here. Okay. So, he says many times, if you love me, keep my commandments. He says, he who possesses my commands, verse 21, he who possesses my commands and guards them, it is he who loves me. And he who loves me shall be loved by my Father, and I shall love him and manifest myself to him. So if you love Yeshua, keep his commandments. Just like Yeshua says, nothing he is saying to us comes from himself, but comes from the Father that abides inside of him. So all of the commands that Yahweh spoke to Moses about, to the children of Israel, saying, speak to the children of Israel, those were Yah's commands. Those were Yah's words. And all of those words that he spoke to the children of Israel still applies to us today. Only thing is, the only switch of the law that Paul was talking about is the priesthood, as we're going to get into later. That's a whole nother topic. But the priesthood is what changed in the law. It was a sorry, I stuttered. Anyone who is new to this channel, I do stutter, especially when I get excited or nervous, or I have a speech impediment. But back to topic. Yah's commands apply even today. And that's what Yahshua says. He says, nothing I say to you comes from myself, but is the Father speaking through me. The Father is not going to contradict himself. He's not going to say, oh, here are some commands that I give you, even though I know you can't keep them, here, I expect you to keep them. That's not a loving and merciful L. So, everything that he said in the front of the book still applies in the back of the book. We are going to John 15:10. John 15:10. If you guard my commands, you shall stay in my love, even as I have guarded my Father's commands and stayed in his love. If you love Yahshua, guard his commands. And Yahshua's commands are the Father's commands. Because once again, he says nothing of himself, but whatever he says comes from the Father that is within him, that dwells within him. So, Yah's words are Yahshua's words. Well, vice versa. Yahshua's words are Yahweh's words. And Yahweh's words are the same words that are at the beginning of the book. But also, the only thing that changed is the priesthood. I was starting to mention that before, then I got into my stuttering. But later on, we are going to read the book of Hebrews, and that, in my opinion, describes the New Testament perfectly. It breaks it down to us perfectly what has changed. The only thing that has changed is the priesthood. We are no longer under a Levitical priesthood, but we are now under a Melchizedek priesthood. A Levitical priesthood was a priesthood, it's ran by man. It wasn't a perfect priesthood. But now we are in a perfect priesthood that never changes, which is the Melchizedek priesthood, which is Yahshua up in the Shamayim, constantly doing his priesthood in front of the Father, presenting himself to the Father for all of us. So we don't have to go to the temple, for we are the temples. We don't go to a physical temple anymore, and we don't sacrifice these animals for our sins, because Yahshua was the last sin sacrifice. But that doesn't justify our sin. If we sin, we admit where we do wrong, and we try to not repeat it. And we repent, and we ask the Father for forgiveness. For sin is transgression against the law. 1 John 5:3. But yeah, later on, I'm going to go over the book of Hebrews, because once again, That's the best description of the New Testament. It gives you a lot of understanding of what the New Testament really is. So we're going to go over that later on. Not today, but it's a topic for another day. But 1 John, that's James, that's Hebrews. That's a really good book, though. Book of Hebrews. John 5:3. 1 John 5:3. For this is the love for Yahweh, that we guard His commands, and His commands are not heavy. John's saying that the love of Yahweh is for us to guard His commands, and His commands are not heavy or burdensome. Yahshua said, my yoke is light. So Yahweh's commands are not burdensome. They are not heavy. They are not hard to do. A lot of it's just common sense. Don't go out and sleep with your neighbor's wife. Don't eat pork because it's bad for you. Don't eat catfish because it's bad for you. Don't get addicted to alcohol because it's bad for you. And it even goes deeper than that. You're relying on it, therefore it becomes your idol. So there's many reasons why alcoholism is a sin. Is alcohol a sin? No. Drinking alcohol is not a sin. Being a drunkard is the sin. Don't be unclean, because it's not good for you. Like a lot of almost all of them are just common sense. If you are a man and you have an immersion of semen, clean yourself. Because if you don't clean yourself, you're spreading things. You're spreading the uncleanness. Like, it's just, a lot of His commands are just common sense. Well, should be common sense. Common sense ain't that common anymore. But then you have people out here that wants to reject His commands like they're burdensome, and it's not. They're there to help us. I want to read a little bit of what Paul says about it, because the Christians say, oh, Paul said this, Paul said that. Let's read what Paul says, shall we? Romans 3, verses 31. Romans 3. I love it when people well, I don't love it. It's kind of irritating. But people read Paul and they twist it to their own destruction like they do the rest of the scriptures because they are lacking understanding. Romans 3:31 says, do we then nullify the Torah through the belief? Let it not be. On the contrary, we establish the Torah. So, I'm going to break it down in simpler terms. Do we say that the Torah does not apply just because we believe? Let it not be. But on the contrary, we establish the Torah through our belief. Romans 6, verse 15. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under favor? Let it not be. Do you not know that to whom you present yourself servants for obedience, you are Do you not know that to whom you present yourselves servants for obedience, you are servants of the one whom you obey, whether of sin to death or of obedience to righteousness? So, I'm going to read that again. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law but under favor? Let it not be. What does it mean to sin? Sin is transgression against the law. How can we sin if we're not under the law? Because we have to keep the law. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under favor? Let it not be. Do you not know that to whom you present yourself servants for obedience, you are servants of the one whom you obey, whether of sin to death or obedience to righteousness? So he's saying, to whichever one you present yourself to, that's what you're a servant to. So if you're constantly going out there breaking the commands of Yah, you're a servant of sin. But if you keep Yah's commands and you teach other people to keep his commands, you are a servant to obedience, to life. You will obtain life. But if you're a servant to sin, you obtain death. For sin equals death. James 1, 22 through 25. James 1. That's Timothy. That's Hebrews. James 1, 22. I'm going to start in 21. Therefore put away all filthiness and overflow of evil, and receive with meekness and implement words, and implanted words, which is able to save your lives, and become doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. Because if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man who looks at his natural face in a mirror. For he looks at himself and goes away and immediately forgets what he was like. But he that looked into the perfect Torah, that of freedom, and continues in it, not becoming a hearer that forgets, but a doer of works, this one shall be Baruch in his doing. So, we are not to be hearers of the Torah, but doers only. Or not doers only. I said that wrong. That's my bad. We are not to be hearers only of the Torah, but doers too. We are to... It's to be a part of our daily lives. We are to keep the Torah when we sit in our house, when we walk by the way, when we talk to everybody. People are to look at us and see someone who is pleasing to Yah, and they are to know that we are to be pleasing, that we are pleasing to Yah. We are his people. It's not good for other people to look at us and see the rest of the world. And there for many years, I had a problem with that, and I still kind of do a little bit. I cuss sometimes. I'm not perfect. I strive to be, but I do curse sometimes. I allow my feelings to get the best of me, and my emotions to get the best of me, which is wrong on my behalf, and I shouldn't allow that. So I'm not sitting here saying I'm perfect, and I do mess up. But we are to keep Yah's commands, the best to our ability, the best in our ability. And how are we to do that? Love Yahweh with all of our hearts and with all of our beings and with all of our minds. And love our neighbors as ourselves. And by doing such, we keep all of the Torah. If you love your neighbor as yourself, you're not going to want to do the things that will displease your neighbor. You're not going to want to sleep with his wife. You're not going to want to break into his house. You're not going to want to look at his daughter in a nasty way. You're not, if you're a woman, you're not going to want to look at your neighbor's son in a nasty way. Or your neighbor's husband in a nasty way. It's all just, it all falls together. If you love Yahweh with all your heart, you're going to want to do what he tells you to do. And you're not going to want to do what he tells you not to do. Galatians 5. And then after Galatians 5, I want to go over one more verse. And then after that, we can call it out. We will be done for today, but I want to go over Galatians 5, Romans, Corinthians, Galatians. Galatians 5. Excuse me. Verses 16. And I say, walk in the Ruach, and you shall not accomplish the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusts against the Ruach, and the Ruach against the flesh. And these are opposite to each other, so that you do not do what you desire to do. But if you are led by the Ruach, you are not under the Torah. And the works of the flesh are well known, which are adultery, whoring, uncleanness, indecency, idolatry, drug sorcery, hatred, quarrels, jealousies, fits of rage, selfish ambitions, decisions, factions, envy, murderers, drunkenness, wild parties, and the like, of which I forewarn you, even as I also said before, that those who practice such as these shall not inherit the reign of El. But the fruits of the Ruach is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, trustworthiness, gentleness, self-control. Against such there is no Torah, and those who are of Messiah have impelled the flesh with its passions and the desires. If we live in the Ruach, let us also walk in the Ruach. Let us not become conceited, provoking one another, envying one another. So, I'm going to go over the works of the flesh a little bit. The lust of the flesh. Verses 19. And the works of the flesh are well known, which are adultery, which is, I think we all know what that is, but it is an unmarried person sleeping with a married person. So adultery, whoring, an unmarried person sleeping with an unmarried person, sleeping outside of wedlock. Whoring, where is it? Uncleanness, doing constantly being in a unclean state, whether it be you're constantly eating pork or you're constantly just unclean. For many, various reasons. It could be you're constantly eating unclean. It's If you're a man, you're constantly doing your business, if you know what I mean. I'm trying to keep it PG. Uncleanness. Indecency. Exposing yourself. So if you're constantly walking around without a shirt on, if you're a dude, or if you're a woman and you're showing your body off like it's a trophy or something, that's being indecent. That's one of the works of the flesh, or lusts of the flesh. Idolatry, putting anything at a greater value than Yah. It could be your phone, it could be money, it could be your job, it could be your wife, it could be your kids, it could be your car, it could be anything that you put at a higher value or more importance than Yah. Indecency, drug sorcery, which is, self-explanatory. If you're on drugs and you depend on the drugs and you, for example, those who are on like meth or heroin or pills or even alcoholism. Alcoholism could be a drug sorcery because you're depending yourself on it. Pharmakia, if you're constantly on pills and you're constantly, it'd be like, oh, I need to take my medicine, or it's not going to be good for me. You're relying on those pills to keep you safe rather than relying on Yah to keep you safe. Hatred. Hating someone, having a strong feeling against someone. I don't know how to really explain hate better than just hating someone. Just like the opposite of loving someone. Just constantly calling people names. Constantly not being patient with them. Not showing compassion to them. Those are all examples of hating someone. I'm not the best at explaining it, so I don't know how to explain what it really means to hate someone. I just could give you examples. Hold on. Hatred, quarrelsome, always arguing, always have something to say. Jealousies, meaning you always want what someone else has. You're never happy with what you have. You want someone else's job. You want someone else's car. You want to do what someone else is doing. That's jealousies. Fits of rage, where you're easily angered and you're easily made upset and you explode very easily. Selfish ambitions, which is freaking a plague in Christianity. Only focusing on yourself, doing what you want, and don't care what everybody else is doing. Walk straight past a homeless person. Let's say you have $20 in your pocket and it's your last $20 and someone asks you for food or for $10 to get food, and you walk past them or you tell them, no, I only got $20 or whatever. That's being selfish. We are not to focus on our own beings. But if we see someone in need, help them out. Whether it be give them your last $10 or give them your last, if you have a bag of chips and you see someone who don't, give it to them. Like whatever you have, if you can help them out, help them. And by doing so, I mean, you're helping Messiah, just like what he said when he was speaking to his sheep. Blessed are you, for you have, for when I was hungry, you gave me food. When I was thirsty, you gave me drink. When I was sick, you came and visited me. When I was in prison, you came and visited me. Like, but to the goats, he said, get away from me. For when I was sick, you did not visit me. When I was hungry, you did not feed me. When I was thirsty, you did not give me a drink. And they would look at him and say, Master, when did we see you hungry and not feed you? Or see you thirsty and not give you drink? And he said, when you don't do it to the least of these, you haven't done it to me. So, help others. And don't focus on yourselves. It's a plague in today's world, and it's evil. Decisions, factions. Once again, just arguing, and you can't come to an agreement. Always have something negative to say. Envying, which is kind of the same as jealousy. Not being happy with what you have. Always wanting more. And I was guilty of that for many, 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 many years. I was a coveter. I mean, I try my best to work on that and not do it anymore. Sometimes I do catch myself, be like, oh, look at that, that's cool. I wish I could do something like that, but I know it's bad, I know it's evil, and I shouldn't do it, and I try my best to be like, you know what, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do what he's doing. Yah is working in me on what he wants me to do, and I should be happy with that. So, it's not good to be envying anybody. Murderers, which is common sense, don't kill nobody without a cause. Like, people say, oh, killing someone is okay. Murder is the same as killing. Meaning, if someone breaks into your house and you kill someone defending your home, that's murder. That is not murder. That's defending your home. So murdering and killing is different. There's people who look at it as being the same, and it's not. War is not murder. But if you were to kill someone who's innocent, that is murder. Let's say I go out and I break into someone's home and I kill everybody in their home. No, I hate to use me as an example, but I don't want to use anybody else as an example. That would be murder. But if someone breaks into my home and I cannot see them, all I can see is like make out like a figure or whatever. I can't see what they're doing, and I grab my pew pew and I shoot. I pew pew them. Then that's self-defense. That's not murder. But if I were to kill someone without a cause, just because I want to do it, not trying to defend myself or not trying to defend anybody else, that's murder. I apologize if I explained that weird. I do have a problem at explaining things. I thank you guys for being patient with me. So murders, drunkenness, being a drunkard, relying on alcohol. Is it a sin to drink alcohol? No. It's a sin to be a drunkard. Meaning it's a sin to rely on it. To be drunk from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. Or from the moment you get off work to the moment you go to bed. That's a drunkard. But to have a glass of wine with dinner time is not sinful. To have a glass of whiskey during dinner time is not sinful. To have a glass of beer during a dinner time is not sinful. But to constantly be drinking such drink is sinful. You get what I'm saying? To be a drunkard is the sin. Wild parties. So anyone who's out there just constantly partying, where alcohol is prevalent, where sex is prevalent, that's all, I mean, it's wicked. So try to avoid those things. And this is coming from Paul, and the reason why I mention this today on this topic is because if the Torah does not apply, if we do not have to keep Yah's commands, then why is Paul telling us to stay away from these things? If Paul is saying that we do not have to keep Yah's commands, all we have to do is believe, why is he telling us to stay away from certain things? And if we don't stay away from those things, and if we practice those things, we will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. There's one more verse I want to read. And it's in one of the most famous chapters in the Bible. John 3. I'm going to John 3, but I'm not going... I am going to read 16, but I'm going to continue reading too. I'm not going to stop at 16 like what most Christians do. I'm going to start at 16. So, John 3:16 says, "For El so loved the world, that he gave his only brought forth bane, so that anyone who believes in him should not perish, but possess everlasting life. For El did not send his bane into the world to judge the world, but that the world through him might be saved. He who believes in him is not judged, but he who does not believe is judged already, because he does not believe in the name of the only brought forth bane of El. And this is the judgment, that the light has come into the world, and men loved the darkness rather than the light, for their works were wicked. For everyone who is practicing evil hates the light, and does not come to the light, lest his works should be exposed. But the one doing the truth comes to the light, so that his works are clearly seen, that they have been wrought in El." I thought that we do not have to do works anymore. I thought that because of the writings of Paul, we're not judged by works. We just have to believe. That's not what Yahshua is saying. He's saying that for everyone who is practicing evil hates the light. What is evil? Contrary to Torah. Everything that is the opposite of Torah. Eating pork is evil. Practicing witchcraft is evil. So he's saying, anyone who's practicing evil hates the light. So he's saying our works is important. What we do is important. And we have to remember that. If you do righteousness, you love the light. If you do wickedness, you love the darkness. It's kind of self-explanatory. But I thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to watch this. I praise Yah for every single one of you guys who takes the time of their day and watches this all the way to the end. And I pray that Yah blesses you abundantly and guides you deeper and deeper in His Word. May Yahweh bless you and keep you. I love all of you guys. Shalom, shalom.